Good afternoon, Saints. Good afternoon, Saints. I hope you had a good recreation time, speaking to each other and having a good time. I hope all of us are blessed. Elder Javangwe, Elder Siziva, if I'm violating you, it's because you're closer to me here. He was very sick. His friends took him to the hospital. He was admitted, and the doctor advised him to run a series of tests, including HIV, to ascertain what the problem was. Malaria and typhoid tests came back positive that same day. While they were expecting the other test results, the doctor started treating malaria and typhoid. As he was recovering very fast, the HIV test result came, and it was also positive. The doctor broke the news to him. Within hours, he was devastated, broken, and emaciated. That's what they call it in medicine, isn't it? He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. Within 1 week, on the verge of going to the nearest grave. To the extent where he couldn't walk for himself or by himself again. Then something dramatic happened after 2 weeks. The lab discovered that they had made a mistake with the results. They had swapped the sample with another person's sample. He's HIV negative. The doctor got the news and summoned the courage to break the news to the patient. Sir, we are sorry. For what, doctor? There was a mistake with your blood sample submitted to the HIV test. What do you mean, doctor? How do you mean? They discovered that you are HIV negative. What? Are you serious, doctor? This is someone who was failing to walk. Yes, sir, we're very sorry. The guy jumped out of the bed and started running in the ward in excitement. They thought now he's even mad. Maybe he's getting closer to dying. Everyone in the hospital was shocked to see the scene. Elder Sivan, what happened? What changed? Where did the strength come from? The power of the mind. We live and die first in our mind. We are poor first in our hearts. We are rich first in our hearts. We are failures first in our hearts. We are successful first in our hearts. You can't become in life what you have not become in your mind. Friends, I want you to train your mind and heart to be positive and progressive minded. That is why this aspect will be very easy for us to discuss. If we fail to do that, definitely we'll go nowhere. Ellen G. White has this to say in Christ's Councils of Stewardship, page 138. She says, the Bible does not condemn the rich man because he is rich. It does not declare the acquisition of wealth to be a sin. Nor does it say that money is the root of all evil. On the contrary, the scriptures state that it is God who gives the power to get wealth. The Bible does not condemn genius or art, for these come of wisdom which God gives. We cannot make the heart purer or holier by clothing the body in sackcloth and thinking that there's piety and holiness in poverty, or depriving the home of all that ministers to comfort, taste, or convenience. And many of us think that our state must continue like this, and that is when God will be more cozy to us. Because our state of mind has been what we've seen in the past from our parents. What our parents have done, we've continued, and we shall continue being a statistic. And all we do is simply scramble through and touch the periphery of our life simply just to make it to the next day. And every day is a struggle because we just need to move to the next day. We can change that. We can surely change that. All of us. We reckon that our financial situation must be dire for us to have an easy passage to heaven. This is why it is difficult to teach financial prudence to a cadre of Christians. And somehow we feel that God is more receptive to us when we are struggling. And there is always an understanding that those that have got sound financial discipline must have an understanding with the devil to be in such a fortunate situation. Many times I've seen we shun not only discussing financial discipline, but anything to do with finance as a product of the devil. I have said the Bible is packed with over 2,000 verses on finance and wealth preservation. But we still have cadres of Christians within the church that live on $1 per day and are satisfied with it. Elder Samanda, can I violate you today? We had a discussion. Can I talk about that discussion? Are you happy that I can talk about it? I won't say much. Thank you. We had a discussion. It is one of the things that I wanted to discuss today. The discussion we had to do with how we are perceived. We were arguing that there is a way in which society would accept you if you were to come in a certain kind of dress and coating. If, for example, I was to come and just drive in any small car, some people would think that I'm not worthy of anything. The reason why we begin to feel like that is because we are going there because society has given us a facade that we must follow as Christians, and we must abide by it for us to gain anything out of it. So what we've denied ourselves is a way in which we are supposed to start and build our own way of living so that society can look at us in the way we are supposed to be looked at. A tree, you know the kind of tree that you are going to have by the seed you are going to plant. So before you go to any place, you must know who you are, so that someone does not define how you dress for them to know who you are. And what we do is that when we go to places and the people begin to define us, it is because we have not made ourselves to be what we are supposed to be so that they can know who we are. I gave an example. I said, if you find an anthill you will know that they are ants. Is it not true? The reason why you've seen the anthill is because the ants have done the work in the background. Now, if you haven't done any work in the background about yourself, other people will do it for you. And they will now give a character that they feel and deem fit because of the way they think you are. And now when you are going to them, you must sugarcoat yourself in that character so that they accept you because of the way they've set the tone. And that is what has caused us to go to any place. And when they're asking, they first find out, what do you have? You must have first. So that they call you. You don't need to go there. I remember 4 years ago, this bank, Stanbic, I think you have it here. They started calling, asking me on a daily basis, sir, we have a credit card for you. There is over $5,000. You can come and pick it. I said, why do you want me to spend your money when I have my own? The reason why they are calling me is because they've seen I have what? I have the money. And they've seen the kind of money that is trickling in. It was little. I was a nobody to them. Little. I was a nobody. Until it trickled to an auntie, they knew that there's an auntie here. Now let us recognize the aunt. The aunt was already there. I didn't need to show anyone. I just needed to continue doing my little work. And that is why Proverbs 13, verse 11 says, little by little grow your wealth. When you do it, they will call you. And when you walk in there, you know what they'll do? They'll be giving you a seat even when there are more seats. And when you walk in there, even barefooted, they would even go as far as saying, can we even give you a shoe for free? Because they know that you call shots. But the mistake many of us make is that we want to be made by others when we have not failed to make ourselves. How can we be made by other people and fail to be harbingers of our own life or forerunners of our own and make the strides we're supposed to make? Who should make them for you? Like I said earlier, if you don't know who you are and your value, you'll be asking people to determine who they consider you to be. And there lies the biggest problem of our financial problem. Well, not only here, but in Africa and the church. We have failed to see. I stated earlier, and I'm going to say it very slowly. We know our revenue, our income is capped. Yamiko, isn't it? It's capped. Because I've got a nephew by that name. You know what it means, isn't it? Okay. Do you know what Yamiko means? To praise. To thank God. To thank, that's what Yamiko is. So, if you already know the value of your income, then you must strive to know the value of your expenses on a daily basis. If you keep track of the expenses, you'll learn to prune them. If you don't, how can you prune them? So the biggest mistake, many of us are even afraid to write a budget. You know why? I know you're afraid because you know that your expenses will be more than the what? The income. And you are going to be, you don't know what to do. So you don't know what to pick. So what you do, the first thing that comes is what you're going to spend on. Is it not true? So we are afraid to even put it down. And many times we fail before we fail. And that's the biggest problem for many of us. We allow failure to come before we fail. I always have this at the office. Sir, this we cannot do. Okay, first let us fail. And you see how we cannot do it this way next time. The guy who created the bulb tried it 1,000 times. And when they asked him how he managed to meet it after 100 times, he said, I have known 1,000 times of how a bulb cannot work. And that is why I have a problem with success. If you are trying to open a door, let's for instance, you open a door and you struggled the whole day. What happens when you open and you get in? What happens? You are so happy. You sit down. Then what? That is why you should not be happy with a simple attainment, so that you are settled. After that door, look for another one that is difficult to open. Until you open all of them, it must be a continuous struggle. That is what will make you be at peace, to know that every day I'll be able to make it because of yesterday's struggle. I'll say it again. If you know how to track your expenses, you will learn how to prune them. There is always that one expense we can all do without, yet we always find our spending on it. Find out which one it is. How many here have not had to pay medical bills? 2018, my wife gets extremely sick. I was telling the ladies. Suddenly, she removing white stuff from her mouth, and this girl stops. This is a girl is vibrant. Suddenly stops, can't walk, can't talk. I take her to the hospital. Now, I told myself when I went to the hospital, you see, I lost my mother when I was maybe 23 years old. I saw one thing that I learned. When my mother was sick, my father used to be at home. So the people who were there all the time were grandmothers, aunties. You leave her well. You just go after 2-3 minutes. You left her well, she dies. I said, no, this is not right. Me, when my wife is sick, I will never allow any chap. She must die in my hands. So, men, I'm telling you, when your wife is sick, you don't know what these grandmothers will do. Or even your aunt. You don't know. Be there. Let her die in your arm. So, my mother-in-law and the sister say, no, go and sleep at home. I said, you guys, you won't win in this argument. I am here. So I'm taking her. In the night, she tells me, take me for 3 months. She doesn't. And I think I was paying about $200 per day. Now, prior to this, I had started this process of keeping 50 kwacha, which was $3. But it grew to a level where now it was so much. And like I said, banks started asking. I said, no, I'm not giving you the money. The other people can give me more money. So this one tells you, no, we can give you 20%. And apparently they talk to each other. So I said, no, I'll take it to this. This and then, no, we can give you 19%. Says, we can give you 20%. So I take it to the one who is a winner. So I keep some little monies. Now it happens. It is at that time when she stayed for 3 months and she was like this that I learned that if I had not learned to keep money for uncertainties, even just the thought of thinking that my wife is sick and her knowing that there's no money could have caused her to die. So many people die before their time because they know there's nothing to lean on. And we begin to pray for money. At the time, we should have been working hard. You understand? So when you are eating extra vegetables and you're throwing in the bin, know that one day there will be a bill to pay. Those vegetables, if they are not bought, you could have saved someone. I don't know if I'm saying what is right. So you keep for uncertainties. I'm sure when we are coming to Melfort Camp Meeting, that's when people are buying tents. Where were you last year when the tents were cheap? And you're surprised you're broke. You're buying a week before. Did you plan for it? Let me tell you one thing. All freedom is good, but financial freedom is the best. You all know, isn't it? Yeah. Because you see, I'm here. I'm not worried. My wife told me the money you left is not enough. I just went on the computer. Send. She's sending nice messages, I can assure you. Amen. Am I lying? Let me say this. Before spending a lot of money on some non-essential purchase, try delayed gratification. You will lose nothing. Sometimes the hairdo you want, or even the shoe you want, it can go. I remember when I was young, there were some girls who you will have an infatuation. You just don't go in that area for 2 weeks, the infatuation goes. I do the same for anything I need to buy. I don't pass through that area so that the infatuation can go. I don't have to worry. So even if it's a nice car and everyone is talking about it, it doesn't trouble me. I do a lot of consultants for many big men in Lusaka, and they not only now, they are now my friends. So one of them was former Director General of Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation. He's got a huge hotel. So I was just helping to get a loan. So we sit down because he knows I like talking about money and keeping. So I said, Mr. Saracen, why are you getting money? Why are you getting this money? He says, no, I mean, it's just, I can use this money even when I have. I just don't want to use mine. I want to use it for something else. But someone comes and says, there's a friend of mine who came and told me that they've got a car, a nice car. So when I looked at the car, it was just 6 months and he had bought it. A beautiful car, a nice car. I said, but why didn't you buy? Because he's got a car for, I think, 11 or 12 years. He says, I can't afford it. I laughed. I said, you know, Henry, I can't afford it. I said, why? I said, because if I had that money, I'm going to look at where I can take it so that it gives me more money. So he says, now, just when I was leaving, then I met the Deputy Chief Justice walking in. Then they meet. Then they start talking. After an hour, he calls me. Henry, remember what we're talking about? I was talking to Deputy Chief Justice that we're discussing this. He says, he's got flats. So he says, I've got flats. He says, I've got flats, DG. So they continued the discussion when I left. He says, I've got flats. Now, so he was telling the friend, I said, I have flats as Deputy Chief Justice in this nation. And they are lawyers that rent these flats. And time they get into the flat, there are bulbs even on the passage. The time they leave, there are no bulbs everywhere. But look at the car they're driving. New, looking posh, living large, but very little at home. You can't look the part and fail to buy a bulb that is worth $1. Why are you troubling yourself? Why are you living in this pain? Why do you make pain for yourself? Men, let me make this known to you. Elder Jabango, let me tell you one thing. Like me, I've got daughters, 3 of them, and a son. I've seen my friends now, because I'm also getting to the older part. 50 is not small. So I've seen some of my old friends whose children have gone, the girls, you know what I mean? Then their wives go to visit those children. Then the man remains at home alone. You understand? Now, when she goes there, sometimes maybe those people, because the child, they give her some money. And the man, if he didn't have money, he would just stay in that house. You are getting what I'm saying? and he wasn't keeping anything. So the woman can be gone for 3 months and is just alone. And sometimes you find that he has died. Now, me, I tell the guys in Adventist Men Organization, I said, me, I keep money so that when now my wife has to go, it's them who has to come because they know there's money. They'll come. People will come to your home when you have money. When you don't have, your wife is the one who will be going. You men, you know what I'm talking about. Am I lying? Am I saying, are you laughing at me or are you laughing at what I'm saying? At the back, am I making sense? Am I making sense? These things are things we take for granted. And we live as if tomorrow is gone. Just a little bit of keeping today for tomorrow. Now, you cannot do that if you don't learn to keep. Now, I will say it again. It's not what you make, it is what you keep that will make your tomorrow better. Because what you get, now tell me, if you go into a supermarket, do they put a gun on your head to spend? Do they force you? If there's no gun for you to stop. You can stop. Spending is like an opium. In fact, worse off an opium. Because when you spend, immediately you want to go and spend. Immediately you don't have, you sit at home. You see that most of you are here in the camp sometimes because you are broke. If there was money, you would not be here. Am I lying? And if some money just hits the account now, plans start coming. You see that someone doesn't walk nicely. And everyone, the way you talk to them as if they are nobodies. You understand what I'm saying? Money has got a way in which it makes you just become difficult. You know what I mean? Everyone is not bad, you know. Just your body just tells you, spend me. And when you see something nice, it's just telling you, it is me you are looking for. Please come. Please come. Doesn't it feel like that, eh? So if you don't know how to tell money where to go, it is the one that will tell you where to go. And many times, it directs all of us. I get some money. I get to an ATM. Now, usually in Zambia ATMs, I don't know here, there will be someone guarding. Usually a lady or a man. Now, this guy is in a work suit. He comes and you can see this one is a laborer. He comes now, he gets his card. He doesn't know how to do anything. But he has the numbers. Eh? So he tells that woman, come please and help me. So he begins to punch. Then he says, there's 3,000 something. Get everything. So he gets everything. So when he gets everything, he gets 100 and gives her. I said, what is wrong with this man? Just 2 weeks from now, you'll be insulting himself for that. You understand? If you don't know the value of 1 kwacha, that person is there to do the work. Why should I pay them? I don't even have to say thank you. It's their job. They're paid for it. The thank you comes in the bank. So I get. So I was saying, man. So she comes. I said, madam, I know what to do here. Eh? And you see how, you know, they will still greet you nicely. You know what I mean? And when you're going to pick and pay, and you see, they have this tendency of saying, now I've got them a what do you call this? These cases where you put money, a pig bank, but it's not a pig bank. It's round. It's like this. So now I usually I've taught my daughter to keep. Even me, I have in the office. So this will be the next 500 kwacha to take to the bank when I go. So I keep. So I went there. I go there. So when they go there, then they smile nicely. You know how women, they smile, give that smile, and said, then there's 15 ngwe remaining. They said, no, we don't have 15 ngwe. I said, no, look around. I'm waiting. Look for it. Say it not. Yes. That's what makes money. Without it, it's not a million. Give me. She'll go round. Now, they quickly close the drawer because the drawer only opens when the next person comes. I said, I'm waiting. So, there is your 50. They want to throw it down. I said, I'm getting it very nicely. And I walk. Next time they won't smile. They'll just give. It is money. If you don't know how to respect that 1/4, you will not know how to respect 10. Let me ask you a question. I asked the women. You have a child. Elder Siziva. You have a grandchild. And you bought a toy for them worth 1,000. In a rage of anger. Okay, not in the rage of anger. Just because they are playing this the whole night, that toy dies. Dies. So the child begins to cry. Are you going to buy another one to next day? Why? Why? $1,000 has just gone in, just like that. Why you as a parent will say, no, I'm going to mess up money, isn't it? Even when you are already careless, but even that one you cannot allow, isn't it? So you think that God can give you money when you've been careless. So God is not as sensible as you are. So you are surprised you're broke. Maybe I'm saying things that are very hard. Tell me, why I'm saying this is that at any given time, everything must have a beginning. At any given time, you must have a buffer, 6 months of your current income. I'll say it slowly. At any given time, you must have a buffer, 6 months of your current income, but you must start. What happens when you stop work? Most of you live at the periphery of that salary. When it goes, what happens? A friend of mine was telling me that just when he lost a job, the wife didn't go to church on Sabbath. It was a Friday. She was very sad that there won't be any more money. Because in her thinking, it's money that comes from the husband that makes her sin. I told you, like I said earlier, that money is not a remedy for stupidity and foolishness. It has never been. If you are foolish, it will only expose you more. If you are humble, it will expose you more. Create that buffer. You won't die. What is the problem in creating it? You are afraid. Now, let me talk about the incubation period. I talked briefly with Elder Sivan. It's that incubation period of starting that is painful. If you are going to leave even employment, I'm not saying leave without a plan. Make a plan, but you must start. The pain is the incubation period. Because one, the first year, if you leave, definitely the income is going to be very difficult. Because you are learning to leave the ropes without very much income. But you are cutting out. If you cut 2 fingers, they'll be painful the beginning 3 months. Afterwards, you leave as if the fingers are already there. But you have created the muscle that is strong enough to keep you in the period. Now, most of you, before you are working, you are living on little income. Isn't it? What has changed now that you are living is called lifestyle inflation. So what you do is that whatever you get, you are simply just increasing your expenditure even when the income is high. So if the money was ending on 15th, even if you use $50,000, it will end on 15th. You just simply begin to change your tastes. You remember? Proverbs 6 verse 6. Go to the ant, you what? And become what? Now, when you think like this critically, you'll see that there is a lot of time when our livelihood has been messed up simply because of character. Maths is easy. You can do the expenditure. But it is the character that we are carrying that makes us begin to spend outside the realm of what we've put together. So if you don't begin, so man can adapt. Immediately you'll lose your job. 6 months from now, you'll be living unhappy with what you'll be getting. You know, so if you're at 50, Yeah, if you're at 50, I remember in 2011, I was getting, I don't know, how much was it that time? 40, 41, 47 at Mamba College as a chief accountant. So that time it was how much? It was over $6,000. Then I was struggling with these guys on Sabbath. Eventually I left. My next consultancy job, I was getting 2,000 kwacha. We adapted. It is when I learned then that, you see, I was here. Now I am. But it is here where I will start. Somehow with that 2,000, we used to scrape through. But then where was my foolishness with 47? Many of you can adapt. You simply just are refusing to. And you are saying, no, I can't do without this expenditure. You are not even having it at one time. And the man always adapts. People come out of war. They begin to eat just sadza with water and salt. And they leave. And after that, they are okay. Then they start having money. Then they begin to buy things they didn't need to show people who is not going to think of them even afterwards. And many of the times we do this to go and show people that we are somebody's, even when they want to remember of. Just imagine 50 years from now, who will remember you are here? Even after 2 weeks, you won't remember I was wearing this jazz. If you fail in front of people, you are worried that people will remember that I fail. Ask them after 10 years, you remember when I fail? No. People have got their own problems to worry about. Never you. So you waste your time on things. And that is why you see, at church, they always tell me, Elder, you have when you are walking as if you don't even walk softly in the sanctuary. I said, this is my Father's house. You should see my son in my house. I don't know what is walking in the sanctuary. Like, maybe I should walk like this so that you see. I just walk nicely because this is my Father's house. He is not my uncle. Maybe he's your cousin-in-law or something. To me, he's my father. I come here and I know who I am. I don't have. And you live like that and you say, by the grace of God. Which grace when God says, go to the ant, use like that? Which grace? Simple things like just writing this aspect. Okay, me, I have a big problem. I even tell my wife that you women, when you are going in any show, the only thing I hate about escorting my wife in the show is that it's not like she'll go to one place. She'll go to cooking oil. There are 5 kinds of cooking oil. She will carry and check every one of them. We'll go to the last one, then we'll come back to this one, then she picks and puts one. I am telling you, the only way now I understand, I say, okay, this is just one of those things that I endure. So I will just go there. In my mind, I'm praying. So now, because I want to avoid that, I make sure. Because she'll go this side, there. By the time we are done in 3 hours, madam, I sell time. I sell time. I should tell you, but you have to be here. But she will have a budget of everything written. Everything written. But when we sit down to budget, she doesn't want. Why is it like that? You women are good at budgeting for little things. And I think at the center of every aspect that is going to make men make it in budgeting, it is women. Because grocery they budget. Am I lying? So I was asking another lady, I think she could be here. The son was eating yogurt. I said, how many yogurt does your son eat in a month? Do you know? Even tissue, do you know how many? You don't cut? You don't cut? Then you are surprised you are broke. Surely. You understand what I'm saying? It's little things that you are going to tweak and remove that are going to change how you become what you intend to become. And it won't happen now. It's little by little. The only thing that you must do is to start, Yamiko. If you don't start, you'll always be struggling. But you have the struggle in the incubation period, so that by the time it's a third year, the fourth year becomes seamless. So what do? There are those costs which you can do without. Many times you can, but you've told yourself, I can't. You know, every one of us have got fixed costs, isn't it? That we know, but be on the very basic that you can live with. So if you have 2 haircuts in a month, just have one. No one will kill you. Oh, but it's just 20 quarter. Yes, that's what you need to do. I was with the janitor at our church. So we are going to the campsite. So, because I teach a lot at church in this subject, it says, Elder, you know, I started keeping 15 quarter, 20 quarter. So after 3 years, and he was taking this kind of money every after 2 days at the bank. So the bank manager called him and says, you, come. You're the one who is putting this to my 2 quarter, 20 quarter. Yes. He says, yes. Do you know how much you have? You have got 9,000 now. He says, I just used to take. But you see, for you, when you have a 20 quarter, the next thing you are going to buy is data or talk time. Am I right? So that you remain abreast with what is happening in the world. But you remain outside the abreast spirit at home and tomorrow. So that you can begin to go to other people to help you. So what happens is this. Because you are failing, you have more money at the end of the money. So you begin to ask for more money to meet that month. So as you get that, you find that even when you get that, what will happen is that you simply just increase your expenditure. The next month it will end on the 10th, because now what you thought was supposed to help you become part of the expenditure in the next month, because it is a part of now what you'll be spending. So now after that you say, but now the money has become low. Let me just now maybe find a good job. You find a good job, you've got more headroom, and you say, no, this alone cannot help me. You get another one. So you keep going down, and in the end, you're just at the tail end, and you keep coming to church looking nice and the shoes, but you are nobody at home. You know that this happens to many of us. We need to sit down and say, okay, where do I stop?
That's right.
Where do I stop?
Amen.
When you come to church, you are failing to worship. Your prayer is to God, and when the pastor says, let's pray for those who've got debt, you are among them. And all you can simply do is not prayer, it's simply to sit down and begin to work on this. I know that problem is not maths, it's spiritual. It's your behavior that has to change. And that is why we deal with it in church. The problem is that we only do talk about this only in other places where people are talking about it. It must be talked about in church every Sabbath. This time I am tired. I said, we've talked in this church. I have been here for many years, over 20, 30 years. We know. In fact, every 5 years, if you follow the study guides, there will be prophets, you know. The next 5 years, that study which you are doing today for Ephesians, just check. 2028 to be there. So now when I stand in front, I said, I'm an elder now, I'm tired. When I'm at home in the night, people tell me, elder minimum is gone down.
Security. Panem nane Benz. FM 3812. Your blocker track him. Can you remove it, please? Sorry. That's okay.
Every time I stand now, I simply just talk about this aspect. I say, I'm tired. You see, when you're having a meeting in church, and usually our church, if you heard that there was a church recently that Pastor Skit was stopped from preaching, you remember in Zambia? It's my church. I was admin elder in that year. I won't say much because it's an issue that is very, I don't want pastors to watch this one and say, no, the elder was saying. But the issue is that the first time we started calling international preachers in our church, the problem was that, but we don't have the money. Now, let me tell you one thing. I'm happy with you people. Because a church that is well fed in matters of the word of God is easy to lead. Because they're just like a home where a wife is fed and children. They will not go and eat elsewhere. They're okay. So I told them, I am tired of this. When we come, we're just coming to fulfill a fixture at church. You just sit, he comes and waste time on the pulpit. For 17 days, we're just rebaptizing people. Because this one can't say anything that is nice. You know that those preachers, huh? You're just, towards the end of baptism, you're looking for someone to push them in front because you feel that there's no one. The guy has just been boring all of it. Huh? So I said, no, this time we're going to bring someone from outside. No, we don't have money. I said, okay, don't worry. First, the air ticket, I said, we're not going to discuss money here. Why, Elder? First, let's discuss the program. Right? We discussed the program, and now the figure came out. We are talking. No, we need this. People will say a lot of things. We need flowers. Now let's put the fig. It became huge and boom. Then where do we get the money? Everyone became quiet. You know what happens? You see in churches, you see that? Okay, now what do we do? Then everyone is quiet. They are looking at who is going to start. You know that kind of thing, eh? So I said, okay, that's the beginning. Now let us see that what things are necessary on this. First, we'll put them down. Okay, this we can do without. This I can give. This I have. Half is gone. Already. Then I said, okay, the air ticket and lodging, I'm taking it. Because I was being consultant for a company that had the lodging. So I said, okay, that one I will do. The guy comes. People still say it's expensive. The guy comes. He does a good work. He did a good work. After he left, just a week before he left, we are sitting now reviewing. He says, Elder, let me make a confession. The next preacher who is coming next year, I'm paying the air ticket. Because now he has felt the need and the beauty of what is there. I told them, I said, first and foremost, the program to run a church program and an evangelistic program, then the expenditure is never yours. It is God's program. So if you don't stop those who can make it and have. Just keep quiet and shut up.
Amen. Amen.
Don't help the devil saying, no, we can't manage. Just keep quiet. Those who can manage will do it. You cannot just be among them yourself. Does this happen here? No, it doesn't happen in Zimbabwe. You find that they're the ones who are saying, no, we can't manage. Keep quiet. You're the one who can't. Now, listen. Are you saying that God cannot?
No.
Are you saying that God cannot?
No.
So are you standing in the place of God and said, God, you cannot, because me, I cannot? And yet it is God's program, huh? And you are nobody. Even without you, still the program is going to go up. You see, the church, even here at Solusi, started a long time ago. And in Osaka, in Zambia, in Usangu, started, even when we were not there. But look where we are. We will go. Our children will continue, even without us, even without our resources, because God is the one who provides. And all you need is to find ourselves in a place where He's going to place it in our hands, and we do His work. It may not be you, but another one will do it. But the issue is to have a mind of knowing that you can do it.
Amen.
And while people are doing it, just keep quiet and don't stop them. And don't say anything negative. So if next time you're in a meeting and people are saying, okay, it's high, just keep quiet. Let God use those who are here.
Amen.
And then suddenly, funds were found and we moved. Now, the next aspect I want to talk about. Budgeting, I know, is not fun. But let me say this. Adults devise the plan and follow it. Children do what feels good. I will say it again. Adults devise the plan and what? Follow it. While children do what? What feels good. putting in every effort and time to make a plan and give every dollar you bring home a job before the month begins is a must if you want to manage money well and do it according to God's way. Put in the effort. If you don't put in the effort, it won't happen. Second aspect, because the last part of my presentation will be on how to now keep this money after, because I want you to understand. Second aspect is to be content with what you have and what you are. This is the biggest problem. We struggle with contentment. The next thing that I must be there, I must have. Why? What is wrong with being content with what is there? Okay, tell me, what is wrong with this flat having it for 8 years? Even if it changes car, who cares? Only you, car? Yes. Only you, who cares? But as long as it is able to what? Okay, sometimes I think we do it to the extreme. You know, I went for another camp meeting and I had a slab and my wife was just saying, this one is 10 years old. I was just coming out and then pop. Okay, sometimes you can do it extreme, you know. Justify. I'm not saying you become terrible, you know what I mean? Then after comes like she said, you're going in front. So we have to look for a sack. So okay, some people come, even here they come with a needle. I'm sure there's some here. Yes. So she had to knead quickly avoid. It was a sack I could even see. Okay, it was extreme. So I said, no more wearing these shirts. Okay, you know, the way I look sometimes, that's why I wear these elastic ones now. So that they cannot even here, you know, just imagine it here. What I'm saying is that there must be contentment on your part. If you can manage with less, live on less. Did I say it right? Yes. If you can manage to live with less, live on less, you won't die. Yeah. You won't die. I'm telling you, you make a good death. Okay. Okay, this one, I know this one is always touchy for many of us. One area where people often first become discontented involves the old motor vehicles. Too many people trade or sell their cars before they're used up. There's a big difference between fixing up the old car, which you can drive for 3 more years and buying a new car. They'll tell you can make that easy monthly payment. Now, let me tell you one thing. I have told friends, many of them in Zambia, they pay 10,000 kwacha for 5 years. And they get a car up front. Now, tell me if this is normal. 10,000 kwacha in 5 years, we are saying 120 by 5, 600. Correct? Mm-hmm. By the time you are finishing paying that car, the value of that car is 300,000. Because you've been using it for 5 years. So the next thing you do is that because it has lost value, you need another one. The bank is growing on you. So, you understand? So what I did, I always give them an example. When I started using unit trust, I reached a point where it became 500,000 in one place. Then the guy told me, no, I think, are you okay if we give you preference shares at this rate? I said, no, there's another place that can get it at 19. So okay, we can give it 21%, 22%. Okay, that's 110. That was 2016. So I gave them 2016. Now count 2016, 110 up to today. The money is still there, I'm still getting that one. It's a no-brainer that money is only money that can make money. And if you're going to give someone and someone is keeping it, then you can keep it in 5 years, and after 5 years, it will be making it friends. Money can't settle in a place where it's not loved. Just like a woman. You understand that? If you don't know how to keep it, it won't be in your hands. It will simply be coming and going. Money settles where they are friends. And if you've seen, that's why you keep saying that money goes to these others who are. Let me tell you one thing. Don't think that those who have it are evil. They've done these simple steps. Now, let me tell you. Let me give you an example of Elder Chata. He is getting contracts. Now, if you do your contract well, what will happen? Another person will hear. What can only happen is that you get rich. Now, if he does get a contract and he does a shoddy job, who will give it to him? So don't tell me people who are rich are evil. It's those who are poor. You understand the concept, huh? Because they are making it, because people find that they do their work diligently. And they keep giving them jobs. Because they do it well. You, because you're doing it badly, and you're a Christian, and you shout hallelujah a lot in church, you keep it troubling. I hope you understand. If you don't use it up until it wears down. Proverbs 21:20 says, there is a treasure to be desired and all in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up. Proverbs 22 verse 3 emphasizes, a prudent man foresees the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. If you don't know in these simple steps, it is difficult for me to come and tell you how to keep the money because you have failed to keep the money for this. So if now that we've talked about this, the steps are what you need to start making. Simple ones. Next time we meet, I'll be telling you how now to make that money grow on a daily basis. Yes, it will look, and sometimes I know we are afraid of what is happening. I was telling Elder Haugan, is he here? Somewhere. Yes, he is. And I was telling him, but see, you always think of just Zimbabwe. There's South Africa. There are many places you can keep money. It doesn't necessarily need to be here. If the banking system is not okay, you can look at other places. You can create another individual in Mauritius, called a company. Then you take that individual and make another one in Zambia. It doesn't take much. Just two people is the least. They don't need to be resident. At least those shareholders don't need to be resident, but directors, they need 150%, one or to be there. You just need to have two. That's all. Then you begin to start the process of looking at ways, not only there, but even here. The first thing is that you need to learn. Maybe the other processes will come and tell you what you need to do as a group. Those are simple things we are failing to do. But we are wise on issues to do with anything that has to do with prophecy. And we talk passionately, except issues that have got more verses. And I'm not saying don't look at this, but I'm saying if God gave us dominion, then he knows that we should be more in handling his affairs, so that his affairs at the end of the day are going to be in better hands. Is it not true? Yeah. Now, because if he says, I give you dominion, and he gives you the world as a Christian, but other people are handling it for you, then there must be some mismatch in your understanding of the Bible. I refuse that someone should be, God says I shall have dominion. Then some other chap is the one with dominion. So I have abdicated my role. And how have I abdicated my role? In the way I behave. So God has said, no, Israel, sorry, I'm going to give it to the Syrians. You are going to be in captivity. And you always talk about captivity in Israel. We have it here. Am I right? On a daily basis. It's just financial. And you keep insulting them. And when you have the power, You can start just 20 or 50 of you. Just imagine if 1,000 of you were keeping just $100 every day. By the end of the year, the bank will come and talk to you. You won't follow them. You tell them at the campsite. They will drive. You know that? They will follow you. I remember, as I close, I remember I had $10,000 in my. I had done some. People were giving me cash. So I told a friend, I said, that was H.Chata. I said, can you call someone to come and get this money? I'm not coming to the bank to carry this money. I'll keep it in the safe at the office. So they said they'll come. I said, if you don't want to come, I have no problem. I told two other banks. The next morning, Stanley was at my door. So we've come to pick up the money. Oh yeah, it's here. These are the forms. I entered all the forms. They made the account while in my office. When she was walking out, another one came to know. I said, sorry, you're late. While that one was going, another one came. They follow where there's money. I have dominion. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It is you who should tell. Because you say I own. Yes. Come and check. That's right. Then we tell them I go to Vida SDA church, they'll come there. Because you'll be telling them not only the prophets, you tell them how God has said, everything on earth is mine, and I've given it in your hands. You can't claim that. And if you fail to claim that, and you are not testifying that God is your Father, and you keep going as a sorry site on a daily basis, and you are happy, and you keep saying that those who are rich are evil, it is you. Friends, I want you to change your mindset. I want you to know that you are rich first in the mind. So begin to change that. It doesn't, Elder Chata, it's not now. Elder Siziba, you will talk. It's not because you have got gray hair. Even after today, tomorrow, you can change this. And you begin to change. All of us can begin to change this. And all we do is simply simple things that are just going to change. And if we now 10 years from now, you are sending your child elsewhere, even the child will move with confidence. They don't have to go and prove to anyone. Sorry, but I needed to add this. One time I went to pick up my child, my daughter. She's now in university, second year. So I went to this school. I drive in. She just quickly runs in the car and goes at the back. He says, as we're just walking out, says, Daddy, thank you. I said, for what? He says, for paying school fees. I says, why? Suddenly today she was in grade 5. He says, today we're only 5 in class. I said, where were the rest? They were at the ground. What were they doing? Their parents didn't pay school fees. Now just imagine your child beginning to learn that you default. Saints, God bless you. I don't know if there's a question. Any question? Just 2 or 3? Because my next session will be on how to keep these facts. If there's none, may God bless you. Amen. May He be in the understanding that you can do much more than this. Next year, if by any chance you'll be here, you will have testimonies. But you can begin to tell them, we have the winner. Zimbabwe is your own country. If there's lithium underground, it is you to manage it. Find a way to take it away from people. Don't begin to keep saying, no, where will you get the money? You have it. You have it. Begin to put it together one by one. We'll talk more about that. God bless you. Amen.